Shripadarajam Sharanam Prapadhye. Chapter 6. The Story of Narasavadhani. Next day, after finishing meditation and worship, etc., Tirumaladas began to narrate, Sir, Sripada Sri Vallabha is the origin for all this movable and immovable creation. He is like a banyan tree. His sub-incarnations are all like branches of the tree. The roots growing down from the branches of the banyan tree, though appear to have independent nature, their base is the banyan tree only. From deities, devils to all living creatures, he is the refugee and resort. All forces emanate from him and again they merge in him. To a person who reached the summit, all ways look alike. In the same way, people of different traditions find synthesis in the philosophy of Datta. All beings are surrounded by an aura. When I was in Pitapuram, a yogi came there. He was indicating how much aura was around a particular statue or how long the aura of a particular person in a particular color extended. He visited Sri Kukuteshwara temple and wanted to test the length of the aura and its color of self-manifested Datta. He had the vision of Sripada Sri Vallabha in the place of Swayambhu Datta. Profuse white light resembling lightnings spread around his head. Encircling that white light, blue light spreading up to the end of all directions became visible. That divine personage said to Yogi, My child, you are wasting valuable time in mad pursuits to recon the lengthwise expansion of the subtle bodies of others. First, you think about yourself. Death is imminent to you in a few days. So think of the ways for getting salvation. Verily, I am Datta, who is the origin of all doctrines and all truths. When great Siddhas, great sages, and great devotees invited me with love, I incarnated in this Kali Yuga in Padagaya Kshetra. On hearing the preachings of Swami, the old tendencies of the yogi got extinguished. His power of knowing the aura of the subtle body merged completely in Sri Vallabha. Then he visited Sri Vallabha at his own residence and became fortunate. That yogi disclosed the pure white light spread around Sri Pada revealed that Sri Vallabha is very pure and is a complete yoga avatar. The blue light shows that he is filled with infinite love and mercy. After the yogi left, an interesting discussion took place. How is the division of four castes to be decided? Is it according to the differences in the aura of subtle bodies? Or is it according to the consideration of caste and gotra? To which caste Upanayanam, the Vedic investiture of sacred thread, has to be done? To which caste Upanayanam, according to the method of Puranas, quasi-religious legendary accounts, has to be performed? Is Upanayanam related to the third eye located in the center of the eyebrows? Or is it some other special thing? What is Medhajanam? Such discussion continued very heatedly. Pandits could not arrive at an unanimous opinion. Sri Malladi Bapanavadhanulu, famous as a true saint, was the president of Pitikapura Brahmana Samajam. He was also called Bapanaryalu. He was worshipping mainly sun and fire. He was invited to preside over a sacrifice that took place at Pitikapuram. At the end of the sacrifice, there was torrential rain. All people were elated. Sri Vatsavai Narasimhavarma, a Kshatriya, requested Sri Bapanavadhanulu to reside in their village. The request of Sri Varma was rejected. Sri Bapanarulu used to accept only the honorary remunerations given during sacrificial rites. If that money was tainted, he was not accepting it. Sri Varma was having a Kapila cow. He was very fond of it. Its name was Gayatri. That cow was giving abundant milk. It was very gentle in nature. At that same time, information reached Sri Varma that Gayatri was not to be seen and that it is missed somewhere. Sri Varma questioned Bapanarulu, who was an astrological pandit, about the cow. Sri Bapanarulu disclosed that the cow was with Khan Sahib, a butcher in Shamalambapuram, Samarlakota. He also told that immediately one should go there and recover the cow, failing which it shall be killed. While sending a person to Shamalambapuram, Sri Varma laid a condition to Bapanarulu. The condition laid down was that if Gayatri comes back according to the words of Sri Bapanarulu, he has to accept 3 putlu land. Putlu is an extent of land that produces equal amount of grain of 2400 to 3000 seers and a habitable residence as gift. Bapanarulu was in a dilemma. If he would not accept the gift, Sri Varma would allow the cow to be killed. Then the sin of Gohatya would visit upon him. He thought that accepting the gift was better than becoming exposed to the sin of cow slaughter. Gayatri was rescued. The residents of Pitikapuram were fortunate. Sri Bapanavadhanulu became a landowner of Triputlu. He had residential accommodation for living. Sri Bapanarulu had a son by name Venkavadhani and a daughter by name Sumati. The horoscope of Sumati had all auspicious features and her gait resembled the royal walk of an empress. So she was named as Sumati Maharani. The name and fame of Sri Bapanarulu spread on all directions. A Brahmin boy named Appala Lakshmi Narasimha Raja Sharma with the surname Gandikota came to Pitikapuram from Yanavilli, a village in Godavari region. He hailed from the lineage of Bharadwaja sage, Apastamba Sutra, and belonged to Velanati Vaidaki sect. There was the idol of Kalagni Shamanadatta in his house. During the time of worship, that idol was talking to Raja Sharma clearly and was giving him instructions. Appala Raja Sharma lost his parents in his childhood. One day, while worshipping, Kalagni Shamana directed Raja Sharma to complete his education under the guidance of Malladi Bapanavadhani belonging to Haritasa Gotra, Apastamba Sutra and Vaidika Velanati sect. So Raja Sharma came to Pitikapuram. As Datta ordered, Sri Bapanarulu provided boarding facilities in his house to Raja Sharma, who came to him as a student. He did not allow him to beg for food in various houses. Sri Bapanarulu used to worship Lord Shiva during the time of Shani Pradosha, Saturday evening. The ladies of the house were performing religious ceremonies to Lord Shiva during the time of Shani Pradosha. In ancient times, Nananda and Yashoda performed worship of Shiva during the time of Shani Pradosha. As a result, they were blessed with the fortune of bringing up Sri Krishna. Sri Narasimhavarma, Sri Venkatappaya Shrestri and some other prominent Vaishyas, those belonging to merchant community, were unfailingly participating in the adoration of Shiva along with Sri Bapanarya. The voice from Sri Kukuteshwara Swami about the marriage between Sumati and Appal Raja Sharma. Once during the Shani Pradosha time, after the worship of Lord Shiva, a brilliant electric lustre beamed from Sri Kukuteshwara Shivalinga. Then a profound voice was heard saying, "My child, Bapanarya, you give your daughter Sumati Maharani in marriage with Appal Raja Sharma unhesitatingly. The universal will would be achieved. No individual in this animate or inanimate creation has any authority to violate this great decision. This is the decision of Lord Datta." This voice was heard by Venkatappaya Shreshti, Narasimha Varma, and all those who were present. All of them were astonished. Information was sent to relatives, kith and kin of Raja Sharma in Ainavilli. Marriage of Raja Sharma with Sumati Maharani was decided. It was a regrettable matter that Raja Sharma was not having even a house. Sri Venkatappaya Shrestri told that he had many houses and that he would offer one of them to Raja Sharma. Raja Sharma would not accept any donation. Shrestri spoke with the relations of Raja Sharma and arranged for the evaluation of the house that he would own as a heirloom. It was valued as worth 1 varaha. A coin of money equals to rupees 3.5 to rupees 4. The house of Shrestri was valued at a minimum of 12 varahas. Raja Sharma expressed his inability to pay the difference of 11 varahas. Then Shrestri stated that he would sell his house for 1 varaha only. Shrestri said, "If you object to take the house as a gift, you take the house by paying 1 varaha." All have agreed that whatever is stated by Shrestri was according to the tenets of Dharma. The marriage of Sumati Maharani and Appala Lakshmi Narasimha Raja Sharma took place amid the chanting of Vedas by great Vedic scholars. The marriage was conducted to the accompaniment of auspicious melodies from musical instruments in a grand manner. The incarnation of Sripada Sri Vallabha came to dispel the darkness of ignorance. It arrived to remove the limping progress of people in physical and spiritual matters. Therefore, Lord Datta commanded the deity of time and deity of action. In pursuance of his command, one blind boy representing gloomy ignorance and a lame boy representing the halting progress in worldly and supraworldly spirits were born to Raja Sharma. Sumati, Raja Sharma were greatly dismayed that their two children were disabled. There is a famous Vigneshwara temple in Ainavilli. Once their relations brought the holy offering of that Lord Vigneshwara to Pitikapuram. Sumati and Raja Sharma received the Mahaprasad. That night, Iravata elephant was seen by Sumati Maharani in her dream. In the next few days, conch, disc, mace, lotus, trident, various deities, sages, siddhas, yogis, and other similar holy persons were appearing in her dream. After some days, she was experiencing divine revelations even in her wakeful state. When eyes were closed, she was weaving hermits doing penance, sages and others with divine luster and variegated hues like pictures on a screen. When Sumati Maharani consulted her father Bapanarya, he told that all those signs indicate the birth of a great Mahapurusha with complete auspicious features. The uncle of Sumati Maharani, Sridhar Pandit, said, "Amma, Sumati, there is relationship between Vishaka, the birth star of the planet Ravi, and the incarnation of Sri Rama. Similarly, there is relationship between Kritika, the birth star of the planet Chandra, and the incarnation of Sri Krishna. There is a relationship between the planet Mars, born in Purvashada star, and the incarnation of Sri Lakshmi Narasimha. There is a relationship between the planet Buddha, born in Shravana star, and the incarnation of Buddha. There is a relationship between the planet Jupiter, born in Purva Falguni star, and the incarnation of Vishnu. There is a relationship between the planet Venus, born in Pushyami star, and the incarnation of Bhargavarama. There is a relationship between the planet Saturn, born in Revati star, and the incarnation of Kurma, tortoise. There is a relationship between the planet Rahu, born in Bharani star, and the incarnation of Varaha, wild bear. There is a relationship between the planet Ketu, born in Ashlesha star, and the incarnation of Matsya, fish. The time of your question concerns a divine secret. Therefore, a doubt is lurking in my mind that Lord Datta, who controls the position and movements of crores of planets, stars, and greater universes, is likely to be born. The perennial excellence and grandeur of Lord Datta. That information was conveyed by Sumati Maharani to Raja Sharma. Raja Sharma told that he would ask Kalagni Shamana Datta during the time of worship. None should see during the worship of Kalagni Shamana. After worship, Datta sits face to face in human form and speaks. Then he would merge in the idol. This was a daily affair. Raja Sharma would not submit petty matters as selfish problems. That day, during the time of worship, Datta appeared very placid. After the worship, Datta sat before Raja Sharma. He called, "Come, Sridhara." One form emerged from Datta and immersed in meditation before Datta. Datta again made sign with his finger and called, "Come, Sridhara." Immediately that form merged in Datta. Raja Sharma was wondering at this. Lord Datta told Raja Sharma, "The form you have just seen is one of the sub-incarnations that come in the ensuing years. Even the liberated souls who merge in me should come out when I call them. When I ordered to depart, they should fade out at once. My sportive excellence is not limited only to the earth. All the globes in the universe are play balls in my hands. If I kick once with my leg, one is thrown away into billions of miles. I am beyond birth and death." Saying so, he touched the center of eyebrows of Raja Sharma. Immediately it dawned upon Raja Sharma that he was born as Vishnu Datta in one of the yugas, and his wife with the name Sushila was born as Somi Devamma at that time. All the past came to his memory. Sri Datta spoke thus: "When I appeared before you in that yuga, I asked you to request for any wish. You did not ask for correct wish. You invited me to your house for partaking meals in connection with annual ceremony of your ancestors. I took meals along the sun and fire gods. I granted permanent Brahmaloka to your forefathers. I went to incarnate as Sripada Shri Vallabha. For the last 100 years, I am giving my darshan as Sripada Shri Vallabha to yogis and great people. In Treta Yuga, sage Bharadwaja conducted Savitra Kataka Chayanam sacrifice in Pitikapuram. The holy ashes of that sacrificial fire formed into huge mountains. Hanuman carried those ashes to heaven, earth, and Patala worlds. In Matsyaloka, those ashes were thrown in Dronagiri of Himalayan region and in some other regions. While Hanuman was carrying those ashes, one small piece fell in Gandharvanagar, Ganagapur. Gandharvanagar is the holy confluence of Bhima and Amaraja rivers. After retracing my incarnation as Sripada Shri Vallabha, I will be born as Sri Nusimha Saraswati in Meena Lagna. I will display many miracles in Gandharvanagar and remain for 300 years in the Kadalivana of Sri Sela in Taposamadhi. After that, I live in Prajnapuram with the name of Swami Samartha and leave my mortal body when Saturn enters Meena Rasi. Raja Sharma explained to his wife the announcements of Lord Datta. Satyarushishwar Bapanaryalu averred, "My child Raja Sharma, you were the pious one who offered meals during annual ceremony of your ancestors to Lord Datta, sun god and fire god in the ancient times. Datta in any form may ask for meals during this birth. Even if that happens to be a day of ceremony in memory of the mains, and even if the revered guests have not taken meals, you offer meals to Datta when he asks without any hesitation. My child, Sumati, please keep a note of these things carefully. Shankara Bhatt, the sportive plays of Lord Datta are unprecedented, unthinkable, and unheard of so far. Birth of Sripada Srivallabha. On a Mahalaya Amavasya day, Raja Sharma was making arrangements for the ceremony of his ancestors. Then a cry of supplication, "Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi," was heard at the entrance of the house in the street. Sumati Maharani gave alms to the Avaduta, who is freed from all worldly bonds. He asked her to request for any boon. Sumati said to Avaduta, "Sir, you are an Avaduta. Your words are self-fulfilling ones. Elders are telling that the incarnation of Sripada Sri Vallabha will be attracted towards the earth very shortly. In what form Lord Datta is now roaming? It is heard that Lord Datta is wandering on this earth from the last 100 years. You told me to ask for any wish. I have a desire to see the form of Sripada Sri Vallabha." On hearing those words, Avaduta broke into a horrible laughter that shook the walls. Sumati Maharani felt that the whole universe in her vicinity disappeared in a trice. A 16-year handsome lad in the attire of a sage appeared before her and said, "Mother, verily I am Sripada Sri Vallabha. I am Datta. You wanted me to show you Sri Vallabha in Avaduta form. To satisfy your desire, I am giving you the vision of Sri Vallabha. You can ask me for anything in this Sri Vallabha form of mine. You gave me food. In return, I want to grant some boon. People in this world doing sinful acts intentionally derive bad results. If good deeds are done intentionally, good results are achieved. Performing good deeds without any desire is called a karma. On account of a karma, another result associated with punya or papa has to be granted. That is under the control of God. Sri Krishna extolled Arjuna to kill Kauravas because he did a karma. The idea is that such killing will not entail any sin. The slaying of Kauravas was a divine decision. You and your husband did lot of a karma. Therefore, some things have to be done for the welfare of the world. Express your wish without any hesitation. I will definitely grant it." The desire of Sumati Maharani after the vision of Lord Datta. Sumati Maharani saw that supernal auspicious figure of Sripada Sri Vallabha and fell on his feet and paid obeisance. Sripada Sri Vallabha lifted Sumati Maharani from the ground and said, "Mother, it is a ludicrous matter that a mother should fall on the feet of her child. It diminishes the lifespan of the child also." Then Sumati submitted, "Lord, Sripada Sri Vallabha, You called me mother. Therefore, you agreed that I am your mother and you are my child. Yours is a true word. So make that word a reality. Please take birth as our son. Then Sri Charana spoke thus: Tadastu, be it as may be. I will be born in the same form of Sripada Sri Vallabha which you witness now. Mother falling on the feet of the child results in the diminution of the lifespan of the child. I will not violate the principles of righteous conduct and destiny. Therefore, I will live for only 16 years as your child. For that Sumati began to lament, Oh, what an offense happened! Is the life only for 16 years? Shripada said, Mother, I will conduct myself till 16 years according to your wishes. After 16 years, a boy has to be regarded as a friend and no restriction should be imposed. You should not compel me to marry. You must give permission to me to become an ascetic and wander freely. If you coerce me against my will, I will not remain in your house. After saying that, Shripada quickly left the place. Sumati Maharani was dumbfounded for some time. She explained to her husband all that transpired. Appala Raja Sharma said, Sumati, don't grieve. Your father has already hinted that Sri Datta would visit our house seeking alms in this fashion. Sri Datta is an ocean of mercy. Let the birth of Sri Pada Sri Vallabha take place. Afterwards, we may think about other things. The news that an Avadhuta visited the house of Appala Raja Sharma spread in the town. It was discussed that Bhiksha, alms, was offered to Avadhuta even before the Brahmins took their meals on the day of Mahalaya Amavasya, which was of utmost importance to the mains. Sri Bapanavadhanalu said, The birth of Sri Pada Sri Vallabha is known to all. To prostrate before an Avadhuta is also proper, so there is no lapse on the part of Sumati. To prostrate before a child may shrink the lifespan, but to prostrate before an Avadhuta is not wrong. The Brahmins of Pitikapuram were very much jealous about this matter. One scholar among them, known as Narasavadhanalu, was highly envious. On Amavasya day, all people will be busy in performing commemorative ceremonies to their forefathers. It became a difficult problem to procure Brahmin guests for the ritualistic feast. However, Bapanarilu told that no difficulty would arise in the house of Appala Raja Sharma. Sri Raja Sharma was in meditation of Kalagni Shamana. In the meanwhile, 3 guests arrived. The commemorative function of the forefathers was conducted without any obstacle. My child, Shankara Bhatt, today it became an important debatable point whether Vaishyas have the authority for Vedic sacred thread ceremony. The council of Brahmins assembled. A scholar named Ashutosh of Navadvip from Bengal came to Padagaya Kshetra. He was having old Nadi books with him. He was also invited to the council of Pandits. Sri Bapanaryalu told that in spiritual discipline, Brahmins, Vaishyas and Kshatriyas stand on an equal footing. Therefore, Vedic Upanayanam was admissible according to ancient dharma to those castes. For others, Upanayanam in the Puranic tradition could be performed if they so desire. Caste, gender, and age were no impediments for attaining wisdom. There were Vaishya sages in Siddhas, and one Vaishya sage named Labhada became a Siddha by the grace of Lord Datta. Man would derive benefits in all endeavors if the grace of Labhada Maharshi is available. Sri Bapanarya's decision was acclaimed by all. However, this decision became painful to a Pandit known as Narasavadhani. He was a devotee of goddess Baglamukhi. He worshipped that goddess every day. He would wash his face before commencement of arguments. He chants the incantation of Baglamukhi. Then he would proceed to argue. It was difficult to defeat him at that time. Sri Bapanaryalu was a pious one who recited Gayatri Mantra many crores of times. Both of them never indulged in a head-on collision course during arguments. Narasavadhani washed his face and meditated upon the mantra. Sripada Sri Vallabha was having very close relation with his maternal grandfather even from a very young age. So he was accompanying his grandfather to the meetings of Brahman Parishad, an assembly of Brahmins. No one was obstructing that charming young boy. That day Narasavadhani felt uneasy with the presence of Sri Vallabha in the meeting. Narsavadhani thought it was wrong for a young lad to attend a conference of great scholars. Before commencing arguments, after reciting Baglamukhi mantra, he questioned Sripada as to why he came there. For that Sripada replied, "Granddad, it is not proper to attend uninvited. As you called me in the prescribed systematic manner, I came. I will go if you ask me to go. What is it for me? I am a free one. I am a boy." Narsavadhani thundered that Sripada should quit. Sri Raja Sharma took his son away. Narsavadhani, who wanted to start arguments, could not speak. In spite of great effort, no word came out of his mouth. Ashutosh, who was watching all this, laughed hilariously. The decision of Bapanaryalu was carried out in the meeting. Vedic Upanayanam was prescribed for Vaishyas. A decision took place about the Nadi books available with Ashutosh. It was suggested in the Nadi books that the birth time of Sripada Sri Vallabha should be calculated according to the mathematical formulae given in the Sandra Sindhu Veda. It was determined that Sripada was born in the early hours of Ganesh Chaturthi in Chitra Nakshatra, in Simha Lagna and Tula Rasi. About Sripada, it was mentioned that he was an incarnation of Sri Datta, and as his feet were marked with all auspicious features, he bears a worthy name as Sripada Sri Vallabha. It was further noted that his horoscope should not be given to anyone and that it will reach in course of time through Akshay Kumar of Tripura, belonging to Jain religion. All that would happen according to divine plan and it would reach Pitapuram as a part of divine play. Ashutosh went to the house of Sripada Sri Vallabha to see him. Sri Vallabha said, "Today's star is Chitta. I am very much pleased if anyone worships me on the day of my birth star. You came with pure devotion, so I am blessing you. Ask for anything you desire." Then Ashutosh said, "Lord, I learned that Narasavadhani is a devotee of Baglamukhi. I thought of having a vision of Ambika through his assistance. My desire became a hope in vain. I understood that Ambika was furious with him." Shripada immediately said, "I am verily that Ambika which he is a worship. Ambika, who was with the subtle body of Narasavadhani until then, merged in me the moment he asked me to leave. I am the personification of all gods and goddesses. Have the fortune of Ambika Darshan." Saying so, he appeared as Baglamukhi before Ashutosh. Fully satisfied, Ashutosh left for Penisula Kona, Penchala Kona, Nellore district. He reached the land of penance of Kanva Maharshi in the forest of Penchala Kona as per the instructions of Sripada. Sripada told him that he would be born in Maharashtra in the Vajasani branch of sage Kanva. He added that he will bless him when he incarnates again and that he will be one among his chief disciples who witness all the extraordinary miracles as a treat for his eyes. Sripada asked him to immediately move. Marvelous spectacles appearing at the time of birth of Sripada. Then I said thus, Sir, please narrate some more miracles of Sripada witnessed by you. Let me have that fortune. Then Tirumaladas began. Shankara Bhatt, Narasavadhanalu was enraged with Bapanaryalu. He wanted to insult him somehow or other. He thought that Bapanaryalu was responsible for his loss of favor with the deity Baglamukhi. He was propagating that Bapanaryalu nullified his efficiency of that mantra through some tantric application. He was much more troubled about the details relating to the incarnation of Sri Vallabha. He was arguing that the Nadi books were unreliable and that it was a sacrilege on the part of Bapanaryalu to offer food to a fish-eating Bengali Brahmin. He was further arguing that no man can be an incarnation of Purna Brahma and that a young lad like Sripada cannot be Lord Datta, who is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. He was mischievously misrepresenting the supranormal activities of Sripada, who was uttering Pranava, Om, from his infancy, who was speaking about scriptures in Sanskrit even when he was rollicking in the cradle, who was exhibiting extraordinary intelligence disproportionate to his age. He was spreading rumors that a Brahmin Vedic scholar who died took shelter in the body of the boy and was speaking in this unnatural way. He was maintaining that the self-manifested Datta in Sri Kukuteshwara temple was the real benefactor and that it was wrong to treat the boy as Datta. When Sripada Sri Vallabha was born, a cobra with 3 hoods was holding its hoods as an umbrella. Wherever he was kept for 18 days, he came out of the mother's womb as a dazzling illumination. Sumati Maharani fainted immediately after he was born. Auspicious musical notes from musical instruments were heard from the labor room. After some time, an invisible voice warned all people to leave the room. 4 Vedas, 18 Puranas, great persons arrived in the shape of brilliant lights to great Sripada. Sacred Vedic mantras were heard outside the room. Silence spread after some time. This astonishing incident was perplexing and beyond comprehension even to Bapanaryalu. The sportive place of Sripada's childhood. A year elapsed after the birth of Sripada Sri Vallabha. He was attending to the conferences of scholars along with his grandfather Sri Bapanarya. Even when he was a child of few months' age, Sri Charan used to freely walk, deliver discourses on scriptures, and making wonderful miracles even when he was a boy of few months' age. The residents of Pitikapur were thinking that a great scholar who died entered into the boy and performing all these works. They were also thinking that Bapanarya and Raja Sharma were wrongly considering him as an incarnation of Datta without giving proper medical treatment to the boy, and that was not at all acceptable matter. As Pitikapuram is a Padagaya Kshetra and an important Kshetra for the departed ancestors, and as some tantrics who could speak with dead souls resided in Pitikapuram, such arguments as above gained strength. As I came from Malyadipuram, I was washing the clothes in the houses of Sri Bapanarya and Sri Raja Sharma. The washerman who was washing the clothes in the house of Narasavadhani died due to old age, was having one son. he migrated to Kokanadam, which is called Vyasapura Agraharam, Kakinada. Therefore, I was engaged to wash the clothes in the house of Narasavadhani. As I was having intimacy with the family of Sri Bapanarya, I was changed as a person of auspicious desires. The flame of spiritualism glowed in me. Instead of personally washing the clothes of Sri Narsavadhani, I entrusted the work to my eldest son Ravidas. If I see Narsavadhani on any day, I was getting disturbance in my stomach and I was not in a position even to eat food. I was able to wash the clothes of those families who are having auspicious desires. Divyanugraha of Sripada on Tirumala Das. Ravidasu is my eldest son born to my first wife. Instead of myself, I was getting the clothes of Narasavadhani washed by Ravidas. Narasavadhani somehow came to know about it. He ordered me to wash his clothes. Orders of elders are to be complied with. I washed the clothes of while collecting the name of Sripada. Ravidas took them to the house of Narasavadhani. Strangely, Narasavadhani felt as if scorpions and poisonous centipedes crawled on his body when he wore the washed clothes. However, there was no effect on other members of his family. Narsavadhani was troubled as if his body was put on burning fire. The clothes were like apparels of fire for him. He sent word for me. He told me that I introduced some evil spirit into his clothes through witchcraft and I would be punished for this heinous act. He lodged a complaint with the judicial officer. The judicial officer exonerated me. My child, Shankara Bhatt, the plays of Sripada are unthinkable. After I returned home from judicial officer, Sripada came to our house as a fresh young person of 16 years. From the time of his birth, Sripada was appearing to his devotees according to his chosen age. It appears quite natural to those who were having direct contact with the sportive plays of Sripada. With utter excited amazement, I submitted, Sir, you are born in a superior Brahmin caste. It is not good to come to the colony of washermen. For that, Sripada replied, Whom do you think is Narasavadhani? He is a washerman carrying on his head a load of sin comparable to a washerman's bundle. Whereas you are a washerman yearning for Brahmagnana, knowledge of absolute. Hence you are a superior Brahmin. Therefore it is not unreasonable for me to come here. Then I fell on the feet of Shripada and sobbed. Seeing me with his ambrosial looks, he lifted me from the ground with his divine hands. He kept his divine hands on my head. Then the whole of my past life came to my memory. The yogic forces in me reached a state of momentum. The Kundalini, called serpent powers lying in human beings, Shakti, was activated. Sripada disappeared quietly with slow steps. Narsavadhani growing totakura in his house. The totakura in his house was very tasty. He was not giving that vegetable to anyone even after their strong pleadings. Only when he was expecting great return from anyone, he was giving that totakura to him. Sripada requested his mother to cook totakura curry. He asked her to collect the vegetable only from the house of Narasavadhani. This appeared as an impossible thing. His grandfather Bapanarilu said, My dear Sripada, tomorrow morning you better request Narasavadhani to give you Totakura. I will carry you to their house. If Narsavadhani would not oblige, you should not insist about that matter. Shripada agreed for that. Next morning, Bapanarayulu carried Shripada to the house of Narasavadhani. Bapanarayulu told Shripada that elders should be respected and their blessings were to be obtained. Shripada agreed. Narasavadhani sat on the pier outside his house. He was having a shika, large tuft of hair coil on his head. A barber just came there and he was trying to shave Narsavadhani. Shripada, who was sitting on the shoulders of his grandfather, saw Narsavadhani and saluted him with folded hands. Narsavadhani was taken aback at his sudden happening. The incisive looks of Shripada fell on the shika on the head of Narsavadhani. The shika on Narasavadhani's head fell down effortlessly. He was in a confused state and did not understand how his shika fell on its own accord. Then Shripada said to his grandfather, "Grandpapa, the shika at the top of Narsavadhani's head was very dear to him. Now it fell down on its own accord. It will not be nice for me to ask him now for green leafy vegetable which he was very much loved by him. Why should I subject him to more misery when he is already having intense sorrow? Let us go to our house." After that, Shripada never asked for Totakura. Narasavadhani came to know the trick played in the salute made to him by Shripada. When he sat in meditation, a bright person closely resembling him came out of him. Narasavadhani asked him who he was and where he was going. That bright person said, "I am the Punya Sharira, body of merit inside your body. You have recited Vedas numerous times so far. You worshipped self-manifested Datta. When that very Datta incarnated as Sri Vallabha, you insulted him. If you have at least 1/1 lakh degree of love and affection you harbor for your Totakura and Pilaka, large tuft of hair towards Sripada, your birth would have been redeemed. Destruction of Moha is moksha. You are shackled by the bonds of Moha. You are going to face penury very shortly. To avert it, Shripada desired to take donation of vegetables from you. Had you offered him Totakura as requested, the impending poverty would have been neutralized. Not only that, you would have been granted with wealth. You have spoiled such an opportunity with your own hands. Even then, Shripada is an ocean of mercy. He is going to conceal his present incarnation and will take another incarnation. At that time, you will take birth as a poor Brahmin. You will grow Totakura in your house even then. At the appropriate time, I will re-enter your body. Afterwards, Shripada will visit your house and eat the curry of Totakura cooked and served with love. He will grant you riches. I am, however, leaving you for the present. The salutation of Shripada was not intended for you. It was a command to me, who is an embodiment of your merit, to leave you and merge with him. As you received the obeisance of Shripada, you lost the merit personified in my form residing in you. Only the personified sin remained in you. Saying so, the Punya Purusha merged in Shripada. From the time onwards, the living conditions of Narasavadhani deteriorated. No one was caring for his word. The luster that was in his body disappeared. Cholera spread in Pitikapuram. Many people were dying. The doctors concluded that due to the pollution of water, bacteria was growing and they were responsible for the spread of epidemics. Fear-stricken people prayed Bapanarya to save them from the dreadful disease and to find out the ways prescribed by scriptures for the good of the people. They requested him to take suitable steps immediately. Sri Bapanarjulu viewed the problem with inner sight. He found out that the disease was caused by pollution in the airy hemisphere and not due to the pollution of water. The doctors bluntly told that the statement of Bapanarya was against the tenets of medical science and therefore it was not acceptable. People were performing various pujas to village goddess and offering many animal sacrifices to appease her. When an animal is killed, its life force would be forcibly released. By chanting of mantras, that life force would come under the control of the person offering the animal sacrifice. Bapanarjulu stated that many yogic practices were available for increasing the pranic force and that many sattvic ways of worship existed and sattvic modes of worship were to be adopted to propitiate the village goddess. In spite of that advice, people did not stop from offering animal sacrifice. Some person who had faith in Sripada Vallabha and his divine actions asked Sripada about this matter. Then Sri Charana told them that he ordered village goddess not to ask for animal sacrifice and that she went to the seaside for a bath and that by offering milky pudding, goddess Kali would be pacified. He directed that the information should be widely made known to the people of that village and the nearby villages through a proclamation by the beat of a tom-tom on a leather drum. When asked who should be employed for the purpose, Sripada told them that Venkaya, who was suffering from cholera, was to be selected for the job and he must be told that it was his command. The faithful devotees of Sri Vallabha went to Venkaya. Venkaya was nearing death. When the command of Sripada was conveyed, he fainted. After a ghadiya, he became normal and regained complete health. This news became a widely discussed item in Pitikapuram. The proclamation by the beat of tom-tom was made by Venkaya. Bapanarya wanted a big vessel filled with water to be placed in his presence. He chanted some mantras capable of destroying the poisonous creatures. Those poisonous worms from the airy region fell into the watery vessel, making a fluttering sound. The impurity in the airy region was eliminated. The dreadful disease left Pitikapuram. On Ganesh Chaturthi, which happened to be the birthday of Sripada, Raja Sharma along with his wife took Sripada to the house of Bapanarya. Whenever Sri Bapanarya tried to observe the lotus feet of Sripada to see the auspicious signs, his eyes were dazzled with very brilliant lights. So he could not see the auspicious signs of Sri Mahavishnu. This was rather puzzling for him. On that day, in the early morning, Bapanarya saw divine footprints on the husk extracted from the pounded rice. Bapanarya asked his daughter Sumati, Amma, who had gone this way? Sumati replied, Who else? Your beloved grandson went this way. Those footprints appeared to belong to a boy of 16 years. The grandfather took Sri Vallabha into his lap and observed his Sri Charanam's auspicious feet. Then the dazzling lights which were appearing before his eyes previously were not to be seen. The divine features declaring that he was really the incarnation of Lord Datta appeared before him. He kissed the divine Sri Charanas and decided that the boy was verily Lord Datta. Then some words were uttered from the mouth of Bapanarya effortlessly. There was no need for the grammatical correctness or for their flawless prosody. Shripada silently wiped the tears that trickled from the eyes of his grandfather. He said, "Grandfather, you attracted the vital force from the sun and transferred to the Mallikarjuna Shivalinga in Srisela. At the same time, the vital force from the sun was attracted towards the Mahabaleshwar in Gokarna and the self-manifested Datta in Padagaya Kshetra. I wanted to charge the Gokarna Kshetra with much more energy. My intention was to liquidate the undesirable vibrations of the people in Mahabaleshwara into the Atma Linga of Parameshwara and transmit good vibrations to the dependents. In the same way, I wanted to invest Mallikarjuna, who grants liberation by mere sight, with more strength. You are a truthful sage. You decided that I would not be short lived because mother had saluted my feet. I affirmed that as my mother prostrated on my feet in the form of Sri Vallabha, I would live for a short span. To avoid conflict between our words, I intend to live in your house for only 16 years. I have to favor the spiritual aspirants who desire release from the bonds of worldly existence. You want that I should have forever. I would fulfill that also. This magnificent divine shape bearing the name Sripada Sri Vallabha would be concealed. Even after the advent as Nusimha Saraswati, this Sripada Sri Vallabha form would stand as an eternal reality. Incarnating as Nusimha Saraswati, I would be in penance in the plantain forest for 300 years. Afterwards, I take shape as Swami Samardha in Prajnapur and transfer my life force into a peepul tree and merge in the Shivalinga at Sri Sela. Bapanarya regarded all this with wonder and astonishment. The first birthday celebrations of Sripada were held in his grandfather's house with great pomp. A strange thing happened that day in Pitikapuram. When Narsavadhani, the priest and some others went to Sri Kukateshwara temple in the morning, they found the idol of self-manifested Datta missing. The news of the disappearance of the idol spread like wildfire in the village. A tantric who was jealous of Narsavadhani undertook propaganda that Narsavadhani, who was cultivating evil practices, was the one who caused the disappearance of the idol. Then the Brahmin community of Pitikapuram resolved to thoroughly search the house of Narsavadhani. When asked, Papanarya told that truth will come out only after a steady wait and that he felt silence was more appropriate at that time. He also added that he would speak at an opportune time. When some portions in the house of Narsavadhani were dug out, human skulls and some articles connected with evil rituals were found. Even though Narsavadhani was innocent, he was stamped as a practitioner of witchcraft and evil worship. His health was going down day after day. There was a barren cow in his house. It was also treated as a bullock and used for agricultural activities. Narsavadhani did not feed it properly. The tantric introduced an evil spirit in that cow. One day it broke down the bonds fastening it. It fiercely pierced the inmates of the house and destroyed the Totakura garden developed with love by its master. No one could bind it with rope. It was the day of the annual ceremony of Narsavadhani's mother. Garis, round cakes made of black gram, and some more victuals were prepared sumptuously. That cow ate the food preparations in the cooking place of the house of Narsavadhani. The guests of the ceremony finished their meals by that time, but the inmates of the house did not take the meals. Shripada was teasing his father Rajasharma that they should go to the house of Narsavadhani. Rajasharma took Shripada with him and stood in front of the house of Narsavadhani. In the meanwhile, the cow of the Narsavadhani came out. Shripada asked his father to keep him on the ground. That cow went round Shripada thrice, and afterwards it prostrated before the auspicious feet of Shripada and its last. This incident was commented upon by the people of Pitikapuram in various ways. It was commented that poison was mixed inadvertently in the black gram cakes. The holy guests of the ceremony were luckily saved, but the cow died of the poisonous effect. It was also held that Narsavadhani would be guilty of killing a cow and that sin would affect him. These comments were causing lot of anguish to Narsavadhani. As the cow circumambulated Shripada and died, many people considered that Sri Charana possessed extraordinary divine qualities. As Rajasharma was having some knowledge of Ayurvedic medicine, he was treating Narsavadhani on his request. When even Rajasharma was going to the house of Narsavadhani, Shripada was also going with him. In spite of the greatness of Rajasharma, as a physician, the health of Narsavadhani deteriorated further. On one day, Narsavadhani died. Rumors, false propaganda, attempts at twisting untruth as truth, and vice versa were very much rampant in Pitikapuram. Rajasharma gave medicine with good intention, but his endeavor did not succeed. After all, birth and death are under the control of God. Some people thought that Narsavadhani died on account of a tantric application by a tantric. Some others thought that Rajasharma did not treat Narsavadhani properly due to animosity and that he would have lived if treated by another doctor. Some others opined that it was unreasonable to regard Sripada Srivallabha as an incarnation of Datta. In spite of daily visits by Sri Vallabha to the house of Narsavadhani, he died. Hence, Sripada was an ordinary boy. That was how some people thought about the matter. It was also resolved that as a cow died from poison, Narsavadhani also died from the terrible sin of killing a cow, and that some more corpses would go to the burial ground from that house. It was suggested that for the removal of the sin of cow killing, the following measures were to be taken. Liberal donations should be given to the Brahmins. A golden idol of cow should be donated to the Brahmins. Propitiatory sacrifices should be conducted for 40 days. Free meals should be served to the Brahmins every day during the period of sacrifices. These are measures for removing the sin of killing a cow. To organize all the above programs, the entire property of Narsavadhani had to be sold. This matter was also like a thunderbolt to the family of Narsavadhani. The corpse of Narsavadhani was carried to the burial ground for funeral. Rajasharma, Shripada and Sri Bapanarya consoled the family members of Narsavadhani. The wife of Narsavadhani held the hands of Shripada and wept. Shripada, I was going for a Pirantam, an assembly of married women at each other's house during a festival. At any distance for a pinch of turmeric and kumkum, a fragrant red cosmetic. If you are a Datta, is it possible for you to revive your Narasanna Tata? Sripada with an ambrosial heart wiped her tears with his divine hands and remained silent. The funeral procession started. Rajasharma, Sripada, Sri Bapanarya, all of them participated in the funeral procession. The eldest son of Narsavadhani was trying to lit the funeral pyre 2 drops of tears from the eyes of Shripada fell on the ground. With a thundering sound, Shripada said, "Oh, I saw a son lighting the pyre of a dead father, but I have not seen a son lighting the pyre of living father." Then all people were looking with astonishment. Shripada slowly touched with his thumb the center point of eyebrows of Narsavadhani on pyre and again touched his own center of eyebrows. Narsavadhani was slowly regaining consciousness. Narsavadhani returned home in a Sobha procession with all those who followed his corpse in the funeral procession. As Shripada touched the center point of his eyebrows, Narsavadhani realized the subtle secrets of the principle of karma. He understood that the barren cow in his house was his mother and the old bullock in his house was his father. Since both of them ill-treated his paternal grandmother in her old age, they took such low births and labored for him in a servile manner. It was also clearly envisioned by him that the mother cow, while dying, requested Shripada to drink its milk, and for that Shripada assured that he would drink its milk in the next birth when it would be born as a barren cow. He also began to grasp the particular details of the subtle worlds. For instance, it became clear to him that the tantric who harmed him with tantric application would die soon, and that he would become a Brahminical friend in the next birth, and that Sri Charana as an ascetic would show mercy on him then. It was also known to him that in the next life he would also be favored by Shripada in the guise of an ascetic with abundant wealth. Then Sri Charana eats the preparations made from Totakura and uproot the creepers of the above greeny leafy vegetable with his own hands and grant vessels filled with gold coins. Narsavadhani saw the future very clearly. The sportive plays of Sripada Sri Vallabha are unprecedented and uncomparable. I will let you know tomorrow benevolent advice of Sri Vallabha to Narsavadhani and his wife and the way in which he showered mercy to them. Let us remember the name of Sripada Sri Vallabha and spend some time in a bhajan program. Let us sing his name in a melodious chorus. Sri Charana moves in a subtle form in a place where his divine name is chanted. This is a literal truth. I was immediately pleased and exalted because I got association of such a great devotee as Tirumala Das. Shripadarajam Sharanam Prapadhye.